In today's video, we'll be going over all of the new PlayStation 4 game releases this week, and there are quite a few new games, a couple of big ones, a couple of unknown titles, but we'll be going over all of them. On top of that, we've got details on the Resident Evil 2 Collector's Edition that is coming out of San Diego Comic-Con, and it is looking pretty awesome. Also, we might be getting more Red Dead Redemption 2 gameplay ahead of its October release, so more news on that in a little bit. First, let's go over the new PlayStation 4 game releases this week, and like I mentioned at the top, there are a lot of games to go over, so let's get right into this. First up, probably my most excited game release this week has to be Mega Man X Collection 1 and Mega Man X Collection 2. As a longtime fan of the Mega Man X games, these collections are gonna really hit home with me, and for those of you that have never played Mega Man X, maybe you played the original Mega Man games because they have been since re-released, and if you found those games a little bit too slow-paced, a little bit more on the difficult side, I would highly recommend to check out Mega Man X because it's more fast-paced, you got a lot more crazy power-ups, and I will admit it is a far easier experience than the original Mega Man games, although they definitely do have their difficulty attached to them. They're not a complete breeze. As far as which of these collections are going to be better, well, you can get both for $40 in the physical version. X1 through X4 are really great games, and those are all included in the X Collection 1, and then in the Legacy Collection 2, you have X5 through X8. Most people hate X7, X5 is really good, X6 is and X8 is really good as well. So a lot of great games there. I would just pick up the physical copy and you get all 8 games. Considering it is only $40, you're getting it for $5 a piece, and say if you have a Best Buy Gamers Club Unlocked membership, you can get it for $32, and then it would be $4 a piece for each game, so that's a really good pickup. That'll be coming on July 24th.
Like, I'm stuck down here, like, I guess I'll jump up, like, hold on, why is there dust coming off of him? You know, you don't even have to read the instruction book, and you know, like, oh, I can,
But you always should.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's just like, hey, there's secrets in this video game. This opening highway stage is, like, really one of my favorite opening stages of any game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. People have done.
Next up, we also have the Banner Saga 3. Yes, the Banner Saga is concluding its trilogy with the Banner Saga 3. The first 2 games have been really good, but of course, before you check out the Banner Saga 3, I would highly recommend you to play the first 2 titles. The Banner Saga is one of those franchises that I am shocked hasn't garnered more popularity than it has. A Viking-themed RPG with great visuals, great music, great storytelling. It really seems like a love letter to any RPG fan, but it really hasn't resonated to an extreme degree from a commercial sense. However, from a critical sense, they have been received very well, and I expect similar results out of Banner Saga 3 when it's released on July 24th.
It was the Spellweavers who crossed him. With his trust betrayed, his ravens ripped from his grasp, and his eyes opened to the truth by an unexpected connection to the rampaging Dredge forces. Bulwark may become the unstoppable force that shreds the last few threads of light in the darkness. Questions of good and evil hold little sway over an unrelenting...
Next up, we have a PlayStation VR title in The Persistence. The Persistence is a new horror PSVR title, and it's set in a science and research vessel called The Persistence. It's out of control and heading for disaster, and after a failed teleporter experiment, much of the crew have become mutated, roaming around the ship and killing the last of the human survivors. It's up to you to survive. Another pretty interesting horror game. It'll be hitting PSVR on July 24th. Next up, we have Airheart Tales of Broken Wings. Airheart is described as a diesel punk airplane game where every colorful level is built on top of the previous one all the way up to the stratosphere. The game is set in a flying city in the clouds, and you play as a young pilot wishing to reach the abundant world's edge. Looks like a pretty interesting game. Airheart's Tales of Broken World will be hitting on July 24th. Next up, we have another PlayStation VR title in Detached. Detached is a VR space survival game, and it looks pretty impressive from a graphical sense. I'll like to see how this game actually translates into PSVR. We haven't seen many survival PSVR titles, so this will be one to pick up if you do own the platform. It'll be releasing on July 24th. Next up, we have Narcosis. Narcosis is a survival horror at the sunless depths of the Pacific Ocean. You're stranded on the seafloor with low lights and few tools. An industrial diver takes desperate steps to surface before his oxygen and sanity give out. It's a first-person story that unfolds from inside a half-ton high-tech dive suit, a walking coffin as it's described. Influenced and inspired by a growing appetite for unconventional horror and narrative-driven games, Narcosis is rooted in reality but steeped in the surreal. Sounds pretty unique. Narcosis will be released on July 24th.
I made mistakes down there, yes, but did I lose my mind? No. No way.
Next up, we have a brand new horror game in Remothered, Tormented Fathers. This is a game that's already been released on PC and it's been received pretty well over there. The game is described as a pure and realistic survival horror game. Psychology plays a huge role within the game. Heroes and enemies are atypical and the line between good and evil is blurred. The plot is rich of unpredictable twists, but it is touching at the same time. The development of the game is similar to that of a film narration where the player perfectly identifies himself with the character. Remothered Tormented Fathers will be released on July 25th.
A child is dreaming in REM phase. With open wings, a moth is ablaze. And when his mother screamed that much, a blood red death bestowed his touch.
It's all my fault. It may be the end of everything. And maybe we're already dead.
And lastly, we have Hello Neighbor. Hello Neighbor is a game that's been in the works for quite a while, and it's a stealth horror game about sneaking into your neighbor's house to figure out the horrible secrets they're hiding in their basement. You play against an advanced AI that learns from your every move and adapts as you adapt. Depending on how you interact with the environment, the neighbor will adjust accordingly. Hello Neighbor hits the PlayStation 4 on July 27th. Next up, there has been a lot of gaming news coming out of San Diego Comic-Con, and here's some more. Resident Evil 2 Collector's Edition has been revealed. On top of that, we've got the box art for Resident Evil 2, the remake. Looks pretty good, but let's talk about this hefty Collector's Edition. The Collector's Edition is $200 and you can pre-order it exclusively at GameStop. What you'll get with the game is Resident Evil 2, the Deluxe Edition, a digital soundtrack, a 12-inch Leon S. Kennedy figurine, a collector's art book, and RPD item box packaging. There will also be a Resident Evil 2 Deluxe Edition if you want to just get that. That'll include the full game, special deluxe packaging, extra DLC pack card, and that'll get you various costumes, a deluxe weapon, and classic tunes. But for those of you that are ardent Resident Evil fans, you might want to look into that Collector's Edition. That figurine looks pretty nice, as well does that art book. Again, $200 is quite a hefty price point, but maybe for those of you that are longtime fans, it'll be worth it. And lastly, we are getting closer and closer to the release of Red Dead Redemption 2, and you would think that at some point we would be seeing some more gameplay of the title. We have seen some information of RDR2 trickle out, but we still don't know much about the game. However, rumors are circulating that the game is going to be getting new previews and gameplay shown to press. Now, as far as how much of this information will come out to the public, I would say probably the majority of it. If the press is seeing gameplay at some point, I imagine Rockstar would want the masses to hear about it, especially because at this point the game is nearing upon completion. I'm sure Rockstar is very confident with the product that they've turned out, but they've always been the type with their big games, they like to leave a little bit of mystery surrounding them. They're not one of these studios that constantly show out gameplay demo after gameplay demo to try to sell you on the game. They full well know that they could do no marketing whatsoever and Red Dead Redemption 2 would still sell millions. Of course, a little bit of a marketing push helps, and I'm sure in the coming months, probably next month or September, we will be seeing more footage of Red Dead Redemption 2. And again, Red Dead Redemption 2 will officially launch on October 26th. We've already seen 2 story trailers, but we haven't actually seen a full in-depth look at the gameplay, and not even a full gameplay demo, not a single one, so that is pretty interesting. I imagine that they would remedy that before the release, but we will find out soon enough. That is going to conclude this video. What games are you picking up this week? A lot of variety in the game releases and a lot of games that I'm personally looking forward to. Does the Resident Evil 2 Collector's Edition interest you at all, or will you be sticking to the base game? And let us know if you're eager to see more Red Dead Redemption 2, or you like how Rockstar is approaching the release of this game, where they're keeping a lot of it shrouded in secrecy, so you will be a little bit more surprised when you actually play the game on October 26th. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.